Welcome to You Are Your Name. I'm Dakin Ariel, your host, and I have a special guest today, Maxse Brytonn. Thanks for joining us, Max. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me on.
Max has been using cycles for a number of years. How long have you used cycles, Max?
12 years this year.
I presume you used a cycle chart. That's how you track what your personal cycle is?
Exactly. I started testing it for my business and personal life and ended up using it in all aspects of my life, our family life, and just continuing right up to now.
How did you prove it to yourself that it's accurate?
When I started to follow the cycle chart, I could go back 20 years back in time and finding out through different events and experience what has actually happened and matching it with the cycle chart. So that was a proof that gave me the confidence to go ahead with following the chart. And as time progressed, it seems that it made even more sense. I could see a natural pattern of initiation and completion in my life. So it just seems very logical. And
can you give us an example of how you've used it? I know you can use it in all areas, but just a couple of examples where would give someone a practical understanding of how a person might use the cycles.
One that I've just lived this afternoon is we now live abroad. We live in Europe, and my wife needs the car to go to Milano tomorrow. And then we find out that there is a problem with the front tire. And I thought, okay, this may wait till tomorrow, or this could get done right away. And knowing the cycle day, I thought there's a better chance that this can get done faster, more efficiently, and with less of our time involved right away. So I called our mechanic. The mechanic said, if you come in the next 10 minutes, I can fit you in. And I was there right away. He fixed it. And 45 minutes later, I was back home. So that's one small proof that this works. I've been to shops before where you can get an appointment or it's the day after or 2 days down the road. Just a small example to start with.
Sure. I know you moved to Europe and that was a big transition going from one country to another. How did you use cycles to make that big move more smooth?
Well, it was not easy. We had the idea in mind to come living to Europe one day, and we used the cycles to make a pre-trip before moving. And after studying the cycle charts even more, we decided to hire a realtor at the proper time, put the house in the market at the right time as well, choose a completion date for the sale, choose a moving date, and so on and so forth. So it seems to be quite difficult to do, but as you're doing it in everyday life, it becomes quite simple. That made the move and transition very efficient and seamless. Without using the cycles, maybe it would still be back in Canada at this point, or the house would still be sitting on the market. That was one big support that we've got. And so much confidence was put in it that I've actually sold my vehicle the day before our departure for Europe. I walked into the dealership and I said, this is how much I want, and you can have it right away. There was not much dollars less than what I've asked for, and that was it. And so that's also how I've used them for the transition.
So you might say that it gives you confidence in planning at the appropriate time for doing the appropriate action.
Exactly. Less wasted effort, capitalizing on the better days to make financial transaction or paperwork or meeting or relaxation. This is all part of the picture. And I'd say that before using the cycles, I was strong-willed and I believe in doing things my own way, in some ways forcefully, but I did not always get the results I wanted or not right away. And it was always very puzzling to me. How can I be more efficient at reaching my goals and also comparing with other people and other professionals? How can they do it so efficiently while others can't get where they want or can't reach their goals? So there had to be a logic. There had to be some reason behind life behind the unfoldment, and that's really what it was.
It's interesting. We've used the analogy before. It's like swimming with the tide rather than against it. You can still succeed without the knowledge of cycles, but it takes a lot more work. And with the knowledge of cycles, things just go smoother and more efficiently, as you say.
There's the saying, which is, when the timing is right, what does it make it right? And do we know about it? Is this a concept that we know? But there's so much more behind it, and the cycles do explain that sort of timing.
If you go into a cycle, say a one cycle, you do have the urge for a change and doing something new. But if you're consciously aware of the cycle, then it's just much more definite because you're consciously taking action rather than through your emotions or feelings.
Exactly.
Now, you have a family. How did you use the cycles in those areas? Did you find that helpful to understand your children's cycle?
Totally, because they're changing so fast. They're transitioning to a different age group and different period in their life. And it's quite useful to have the cycles and to be able to consult with them. As during the move, we knew that my son was in a 1 year, my daughter was in a 4 year, and their experiences with the move was quite different from one to another. But then eventually things came around for both of them. Now their life is constructive and stable. And because we knew about the cycles there, I'd say it brings more confidence that, okay, we're doing the right thing and they're going to be fine with this. And so, again, so many examples can be given.
So you would say that using a cycle chart has increased your opportunities in life? Are there any downsides to using a cycle chart?
No downside. At first, it was quite daunting for me because you're able to know in advance which days are less progressive than others. Obviously, I believe in an ideal life without problem before, and this is how I was going through my life. But issues to resolve are a thing of everyday life. It's just a matter of perspective and like what's the dimension of these issues or problems. But after a while and after gaining confidence over the first few months, I've realized that there's a time for everything. And it's just a matter of how we approach things. There's no real downside of using the cycle chart, it's only benefits.
So the physical cycle charts have been around for 75, 80 years since Mr. Parker, the founder of the Kevlar philosophy, wrote them. We've recently converted them into a smartphone app. Have you used the app and do you have any comments on it?
I've used the app, very useful. You can consult it throughout the day. I used to check the cycle chart at night and in the morning before going to work. And that was basically it. I had to remember everything that was written. But now on the phone, we all have one and it's easy access. And I can go back and not only see what's in store for today, but for the following days very easily and plan appointment or meetings or tasks according to that app.
Great. Any final comments you'd like to share with the listening audience?
In a nutshell, using the cycle chart, avoid wasted efforts, and brings a more constructive life and fulfillment. And this is what I believe we're all here to reach and obtain. And this is an opportunity of a lifetime. So I wouldn't hesitate to use it.
Great. Well, thank you, Max. We appreciate your time, and I'm sure we'll have you back for another topic.
Sounds great. Thank you, Dakin.
Remember, you can test the Cyclic Law for free without any obligation. All you have to do is download the Cycle Chart app from either the Android store or the Apple store. Just search for the term Cycle Chart, CYCLE, and the word chart. There'll be a link to it in the show notes as well. Once you install the app, you can set up the free account. The key information that you give it is your month and date of birth, and it will populate the app with your personal cycle. So then you can explore your cycle year, your cycle months, and your cycle days. We'll see you next week. Until then, happy thoughts.